Yo, what is up? Welcome to the first official episode of Beyond the Bank podcast, Phillies edition. I am your host, Pete, along with my co-host, Henry.
What up? What up?
Man, we're finally here. We dropped the intro video last week, and this whole week leading up to now has just been feeling like just so long, and it feels like it's been dragging, but we're finally here to, do this, man. It's crazy.
I'm very excited. All week, it didn't matter what I was doing. Every day it was just, I just need to get to Sunday. I need to get to Sunday. I need to get to Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, I enjoyed some of the stuff I was doing, but I was like, I want to get to Sunday. You mentioned watching the Super Bowl and being like, can we just record? Like, that's what I was doing. And I didn't care about the Super Bowl anyway, but it was just like, I want to record now.
Oh yeah, and just trying to keep up with all the news and stuff like that. Trying to savor it and like, oh my god, I want to talk about it type of thing. And it's just like, dude, I want to get to recording, speak about this type of stuff with the Phillies. And it's just like I was getting antsy today. I'm saying I had to go to the gym, get the workout in and stuff like that. So I'm just like, let's get to it, man. But listen, welcome. This podcast is gonna be fun. There's gonna be a lot of them, a lot of episodes of us, ranting, talking about Phillies baseball. I'm saying a little bit of, around the, league baseball news as well. Try to keep a little relevant and stuff like that. But for the most part, man, we're here, relaxed, chilled, just talk about some Phillies baseball, with y'all, and we want everybody to have fun and have some laughs in between. And there might be some serious times, what I'm saying? There might be some down times, obviously, throughout the 100.
There's going to be a lot of down times. We're fans of this team. There's going to be a lot of down times. Exactly. You and I both know.
So it's just like, just stick around and, stick with us and let's just have some fun, man. So it's, this is, let's get to it, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We got no time to waste, man. Season
it's gonna
starts
be a lot
soon.
of fun.
But so first order of business. So let's get the elephant out of the room here. So obviously the season last year did not end the way we wanted it to. Getting bounced, out of the NLCS by the Arizona Diamondbacks and having back-to-back home possible clinching games, game 6 and 7. And they just didn't get the job done. And it kind of left a sour taste in everybody's mouth.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. It left a sour taste in everybody's mouth. Like, it was just bad because, I went to quite a few playoff games last year. I was pretty fortunate to go to, enough games or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I know you made it to one. It was a wild card game, right?
Wild card game. It was awesome. Yeah. Awesome.
And it's like, we waited. It was 2012 on. We weren't in the playoffs, so it was like it was built. We made the World Series last year, and everybody's like, "You don't want to come here. You don't want to come here. You don't want to come here."
Yeah.
It was that all year, and we were, I guess, undefeated at home, right? We hadn't lost at home yet in the postseason.
I'm pretty sure we're undefeated, yeah.
Yeah, so we're undefeated at home, and then you go to Arizona up 2-0, and then you don't take batting practice.
Yeah.
You go to Arizona up 2-0, and nobody shows up. Like, the thing that bothered me the most was when they came back here, it was almost like, oh, well, we got it. We win there, so it doesn't matter what we do.
Exactly.
But the problem is you have to play the game. There's a reason we play these games, and there was 2 chances to do it, and they couldn't close it out. We were right there.
It just like something in my stomach just felt weird that like for some reason going into that game 6, with Nola on the mound, and for some reason, like even though they won game 5, with Wheeler on the mound and stuff, and going back, it's like, okay, you felt confident that very night. But then when you get to Monday, and it's just like, oh my god, like those thoughts start to creep in your head, like, are they going to close it out tonight, or are they going to make it difficult? And it's just like, as you started to get through the first couple of innings of that game 6, you're just like, I don't like the vibe of this game right now. And it's just, I don't know. I just didn't feel good about it. And, obviously when they didn't close out game 6 and, go to game 7, that's even more stressful, and, I'm sitting at Chickies and Pete's, near my home. And it's just like, all the other Phillies fans around me are relaxed and calm for some weird reason. It's just like, to me, I'm like, dude, do you know, like, if we lose this game tonight, saying it's done, like, and over. And it's not going to be fun. So, obviously when they didn't close it out in game 7 either, it's just like, it's like, you just wanted to cry. And
I mean, they said it on the radio afterwards, and they were like, "It feels like somebody broke up with me," because you're just like, "Why? Why'd you
yeah,
do that to me?
yeah,
Like, why? Like, I was at work. I was driving around on a forklift with my face painted. I had paint under my eyes with a Phillies hat on, and everybody knows that I like to watch baseball, so it wasn't that weird. But I was like, I painted my face for the other games, and they won.
yeah.
So every game I have it, they lost. So I need to do something. I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
I can look ridiculous all I want, but if we go to the World Series, I'll be laughing in your faces.
Oh
But
yeah.
they did that to us. They
And,
made us feel that way.
and being superstitious in that way, it's like, okay, if I do this again, maybe they'll win. I mean, I was wearing, the same shirt, the same sweatshirt for each game, thinking, oh my god, this might help us. Being superstitious and being gullible, like, oh my god, they might
My
get it
lucky
done if
pair
I
of
win.
pants.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's just like, oh my god, they were so close. And you know what? I mean, listen, at the end of the day, as they're getting on our enemy list here now, but hats off to the Diamondbacks for making adjustments, and you know doing what they had to do to get things done to win it. I mean, as then again, we just couldn't get the job done. We couldn't put the ball in play, and swinging at
Yeah.
sliders that were like 10 feet off the plate. It felt like, and it's just like
We had the
that type of
second or
stuff.
third worst chase rate, I
That
think.
type of stuff is not going to win you ball games. And and when we move to the point of pointing fingers at certain players, I mean, you can do that, but I mean, let's be honest here. If Mr. Craig Kimbrell himself could just close out a game earlier in the season or in the series, we wouldn't have to be worrying about it, or we wouldn't be talking about it right now. But I mean, my goodness. Listen, all I'm saying is good luck, Baltimore, because that was terrible what I saw in the playoffs, man. I mean, ugh.
It was bad, and the worst part of it was like you're going through the season and you're like, all right, we signed him,
Hmm.
which it's like, okay, we didn't really have a closer because Hector Neris left, the year before, whatever. He was in Houston and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but we didn't really have one. Then you sign him and you're like, ah, crap. Like, really, this guy? Because I
Yeah.
remember seeing that we signed him and I'm like, all right, I guess this is cool, but like, what's he going to have left in the tank? Then throughout the year, he's showing up consistently. And you're like, man, this guy, what's going on? Like, he doesn't
Yeah.
run out of gas
Yeah,
until he
exactly.
did. And he ran out of gas in one of the worst spots he possibly could twice. Twice. And that's also partially on Rob Thompson for putting him in to the one. What was it? No, Orion was the one that he put in twice, but
Yeah.
that's a rookie in a big spot. There's not much you could do, but
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, I saw Kimbrel run from the bullpen, and I was at a family member's house, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me! What are they doing?" And then Alec Thomas was like, "I was supposed to bunt."
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's just it's rough. I mean, especially after the game that they won in extras, Marte hit that single whatever to win. It's just like even like that game, like how it ended. It's like okay, like he blew the save there, and maybe so he'll bounce back the next game. It's just thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, I don't like the way that ended at all. You know what I'm saying? And
No.
it's just like you try to like get those negative thoughts out of your mind, but at the same time it's like, dude, like that can really wreck a guy's mental going into the next couple of games. And I mean, he even showed into the next game. And I'm just, oh my god, like that that home run is just, it's just gut wrenching, man. Like it's just like you never know. And like that's the thing, it sucks that like you go to game 5 knowing you have Wheeler on the mound and you win that game with pretty much ease in the most way.
6-1.
That's what I'm saying. And knowing that, listen, if we just took care of business in 3 or 4, you know what I'm saying? Obviously, if they take one, whatever. But if we take business in one of those games, we're closing that series out in Game 5. And it's just,
Yeah.
when you think about it, you
We don't
just
even have. We shouldn't even had to come back to Philly.
nope,
You shouldn't even had to come back, but you
nope,
did, and you lost twice. They
yeah,
beat us. Think about this. We took games 1 and 2, right?
yeah,
They proceeded to take 4 out of the next 5. That's unbelievable. And that shouldn't happen against an 84-win team. And that's what happened with us last year, so I get it.
yeah,
And like, sometimes you don't know how to win until you know how to win.
yeah,
And they had no business being on the field with us, but they still beat us. Like you said,
oh, yeah,
props to them. They made the adjustments. They did everything they did seemed to work. It's
Yeah,
like last year when we were in the playoffs with Rob Thompson. Every number or every button he pushed worked.
yeah, everything was going our way. Every ball was going our
Yeah,
way, stuff like that. And I mean, that's the thing. When I was seeing them play, it reminded me of us the year before, and that kind of made me nervous a little bit too, because you hit on momentum, out of the when the start of the playoffs, and you keep that going, that momentum throughout the whole. You can get to the World Series. You just need
yeah,
some luck, and you need things to go your way. And for them, that's just how things went for them, and they
yeah,
had our number. And I mean, listen, and looking forward to this year, it's like they got better. And who knows? We could, if we go to the playoffs and they do too, we could end up meeting them again. You know what I'm saying? There's a
yeah.
possibility. I'm not saying definite, but they're going to be better. So, it's
But
disappointing. It's embarrassing, but
it
it's
is.
listen. It's time to nut up or shut up this year, man. I don't want to hear
Yeah,
nothing. Listen, a fan myself, I don't want to hear anything about Citizens Bank Park being this,
I don't either.
scary thing, because it obviously didn't show when the time was needed, or the big moment.
Yeah.
So
And the thing that pissed me off the most was when I went on Twitter and I saw the Arizona Diamondbacks Twitter and it said the Merrill meter. So of course, for people who've never been there or can't hear it on TV, whenever there's a starting pitcher, they chant their name. So when Strider was out there, it was Strider,
yep,
Strider. Well, for Merrill Kelly, it was Merrill, the whole time. Well, the second time he pitches, it's quiet and he
yeah,
whoops us.
yeah,
And then they put on that thing that said Merrill meter 0 because somebody had put up the decibel counter. uh Somebody from MLB.com or whoever it was put
yeah,
up a decibel thing and it was at like 112 decibels the one night. So they replaced it with Merrill meter and put 0. That pissed me off. And
yeah.
we still lost.
It's he he got the last laugh. That's for damn sure. I mean, ugh,
The last
it's
laugh was when they planted their flag in our field.
yeah. That pissed me off so bad. And like at the end of the day, it's like, how can you get pissed off? Like, they won fair and square, or whatever. I mean, who knows? We could have done something like that too, and we've been, hooting and hollering about it. But like, it's just like, I just, I don't know. It just left a
You don't want that
feeling.
stuff to happen? Beat them. I
I mean,
mean,
just
it's that simple. Because
just
I
get
was
your
mad too. I'm like, no, it's disrespectful. And I was like, but they won, so it doesn't
yeah,
matter.
yeah, exactly. And I just, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can't look back now. I mean, but that. Listen, some loyal fans will say like that was our year to go get it done, because I mean, who knows what
Yeah,
happened against Texas? If we met up with them in the series, I mean, they were good, yes, but I mean, we were
I think
good
we would have beat
too.
them.
You know what I'm saying, before those couple of games, but I mean, you just never know what happens. And I mean, you look back at you're gonna look back on that year, and say, man, like that was our chance. But I
Yeah,
mean, listen, sometimes you just get the job done next time. That's all we
right.
ask. That's all the fan
Yeah,
base. Just get the job done. We don't want to hear this, sad story, that type of stuff. Just get the job done next time.
and I think the good part about baseball is I thought it was going to be a lot like the Sixers, where it's like, wake me up. Now it's going to have to be wake me up when we get to the postseason.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
baseball doesn't really have that feel because the season's so long. There's so many games. It's like they don't, not that they don't matter as much, because they do. They matter. They matter to the fans immensely. I'm sure they matter to the players too. But
Yeah.
it's to a point where it's like I can't avoid this, so I might as well watch. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly. Exactly. I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they bounce back this year, but moving on to the next topic here, we have to get into this because it was one of the, most popular topics over the offseason, the quiet one up until a couple days ago. But Reese
Mm.
Hoskins going to the Brewers.
All I have to say is whoever made that bat spike edit of him in a Brewers uniform should be in jail.
Yeah, that was
Jail.
that was tough to watch, man. I mean, it's just you know Reese was such a big stone in the organization. You know what I'm saying? He was just a Philly guy. You know what I'm saying? And he's humble, and obviously, some Phillies fans out there weren't the biggest fan of him at certain times, and brought up his mistakes, his errors, whatever, blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, you can say that about any other player, really, to be honest with you. But
Yeah.
I mean, he gave us good moments, and he was, there halfway through those dog days, those dog years, where it's just like we were terrible. And that's what I,
Yeah.
remember most is like, he was one of the bright spots on that team to root for. And,
Yeah.
it sucks to see him go, but he wasn't going to have a spot in this lineup, unfortunately.
Yeah. It was as the offseason went on and on and on, and we weren't really signing people, which we'll get into later.
Mm,
Um, I kind of had a thought in the back of my mind, like maybe it wouldn't be the worst thing if he came back on a prove it deal, just a
yeah.
1 year deal. Let him run it back with these guys. He was there last year, but it was just kind of in spirit. He was in a
Yeah.
dugout and stuff, and like he's a very important clubhouse guy, like you said.
Mm,
But I thought there would be some sort of way that they could fit him into this lineup, whether it be revolving a DH or
mm,
like Rob Thompson said, some days you put Bryce as just DH so you can get him off his feet. Some days you put Casty at DH, you can put somebody in the outfield. But
absolutely.
it would have been just too confusing for the money we would have paid him,
Yeah.
because I don't think he would have gotten much less than 14 million a year, which is or
Yeah.
17 million a year, which is what he got.
Mm,
But I mean, speaking to your point about him being the bright spot, I mean, it's kind of like the same way with Nola. And
mm,
I remember listening on the radio because I was at work, and I was listening on the radio to Game 6, and he walked off the field, and they said he tipped his hat, and I had to stop for a second, and I was like, he may not be a Philly soon.
yeah.
Like he's
Yeah.
done. And it was just this really weird moment because it's like you went from those guys in 2012 and everything. I mean, Noah got drafted in 2014, I believe. So
Hmm.
it's like he was the next guy. Like he
Yeah.
was the next guy. So you could be like, man, this game sucks. This team stinks. I can't watch this. But Noah's pitching today, so I might as well.
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
that's what brought people in. And
Yeah.
Reese Hoskins was the same way. He played in those future games and things like that, and he was raking
Yeah.
when he was absolutely raking when he was in Lehigh Valley. And it's
Yeah.
like now he's gone, and seeing him in another uniform, it like makes me like it's weird. Like it's just weird. And I don't know if you saw the video. It was a bunch of the guys, the Brewers guys, walking into spring training.
Hmm.
He doesn't even look happy,
He looks lost.
and
Somebody
it
said he looks
kills
lost.
me. It kills me. It
And
kills me.
it's just it's rough. And then you think back to like obviously not being able to close out the World Series in 2022 against the Astros, and it's like he never got that ring. It's just he was so excited when we made the playoffs, and because you could tell that he went through all those rough years to finally get to where he needed to get with the team and organization. And it's like it sucks to think back on. I mean, but it's just like it sucks to see. It does, because he was such a
Yeah.
good guy in the clubhouse. He was close to all the guys. And he deserves he's one of those guys that deserves a ring at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we may never know, what happens down the road. So,
But think about this. He has an option after his first year. So he does really good in Milwaukee, or he does really bad. He opts out, comes back and signs. Huh? Finish it
hey,
here.
I mean, depending on
Come on,
how
Reese.
yeah, exactly. I mean, get the Photoshop ready. Get him in the Phillies jersey. It's gonna be so legit, so on point. That it's like, hey, I think this happened before. Like,
Yeah.
you never listen at the you're right though. You never know what's gonna happen. With the opt out, and with what players we keep in the future and stuff like that. And it's crazy that like this is besides the point of Reese, but through the offseason was like, oh, trading Castellanos, to possibly make room for to keep Reese or whatever. Who would you rather keep? Almost it came down to, and it's just like do you really start playing that game? Yeah, exactly, exactly. I mean, do you really start playing that game of like who do you rather choose? Like at the end
Yeah.
of the day, it's just like
Good.
with Castellanos how he played in the postseason. I mean, come on. I mean, you got to keep him for right now.
Yeah. I mean, he's the first player in MLB history to
Mm-hmm.
have two back-to-back 2 home run nights
Yeah,
in the ever
yeah,
in
yeah,
the play. Is it? I think it's just in the playoffs. But regardless, his name is there. So it's
yeah.
like
No, for
I just
sure.
want to keep him. Like, and the worst part is, I think what made it a little bit easier. I don't want to say easier for the organization, because it came out and said Reese came out and said that there was basically not really a discussion. They were just like, we're not going to offer you anything like We love what you've done here. We love what you've done for the community. Like,
Yeah.
we know you're a great person and you're a fantastic ball player, but there's just no fit for you right now.
No.
So like
No.
it just sucks. And I think, like I said, what made it easier for them is his lack of defense. And he was such a polarizing topic on
Yeah.
sports radio, on, I mean, where he would rank on a team. Like it just sucked because he was a guy who gave us some of our best moments for years,
Oh
and now
yeah,
he's gone.
absolutely. It's yeah. Uh, it's like you start losing, words to say, and it's just like just sit there
Yeah.
and shake your head. And at the end of the day, listen, good luck to him, and hopefully he has a good year in Milwaukee. I don't really know where they're heading because they traded Burns and stuff like that, and I
They
don't.
said like, "Oh, you wanted a first baseman, you got it, dude." He's on a 2-year deal with a
Yeah,
1-year opt out. Like, what are you talking about?
yeah. And
He's
listen,
made for that ballpark, though.
oh
He's
yeah,
got righty pull.
absolutely, absolutely. And then when he comes back to Philly, I mean, I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna make sure I'm there because I want to see that. I mean, he deserves the
I have a
applause.
ticket
He
to one of the
deserves.
games, so
Yeah, he deserves the ovation. Absolutely. So
oh my
listen, best
gosh, there are gonna be tears shed. Maybe not from me, but there'll be a lot of tears shed.
best of luck to him, man. And we'll see what happens. You never know near the future. So let's get into more recent topics here. More relevant. Going into this 2024 season for the Phillies. Obviously, you know, other than the news that dropped Friday, it's been quiet off season, for the Phillies, and Dave Dombrowski wasn't doing too much other than signing some, minor league guys that have an ERA of like 6 or above, which I don't want to see that. So, but you know, it's been quiet off season other than the signing on Friday.
Yeah, I mean, Whit Merrifield's a great signing, but
Mm-hmm.
I saw a tweet from Phillies Tailgate. They're one of
Mm-hmm.
my favorite accounts on Twitter, and it says it's the money spent on free agents this offseason. So I'll give you the top 5.
Mm-hmm.
So number 1 is the Dodgers, who spent
Yep.
767,400,000,
Yeah.
which
Ridiculous.
that's a whole topic of another day. And we're
Yeah.
in second with 183 million.
Sheesh.
So then it's the Diamondbacks with 136 and a half, the Royals with 109 and a half, and the Reds with 109.2.
Wow.
So I think the way that it was the last few seasons with Philly in general,
Mm-hmm.
going back to Bryce. So you sign Bryce, right? And that's the
Yep.
big free agent. There's something
Yeah.
to see on opening day. 2019, you're like, all right, this could be the start of the year they make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Then in 2020, it's like the COVID thing, everything happened. It
Yeah.
was just a rough
Wrecked.
time. 2021, you're like, this team actually has potential. Like, it's right there.
Oh yeah.
Then 2022, you have Schwarber and Castellanos signed. So you're like, all right, there's something to go see. Like, we're making
Yeah.
moves constantly. Last year it's Trey Turner. There's something
Yep.
to see on opening day. He
Yeah.
led the team out when they walked on the field for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
This year there's really not that, and I think what people are misinterpreting a quiet offseason as is just we didn't sign a guy for $100 million plus.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, yeah, I agree. I mean, it's been quiet, but at the end of the day, I mean, they keep saying, "Oh, we're gonna run it back. We're gonna run it back." It's like, okay, cool, you're gonna run it back, but can we do a little better when we run it back? Like, I don't. We
Right.
we we can't be coming out in these slow starts and getting behind the 8 ball and being under 500 and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? We actually got to have a good start. Off rip. You know what I'm saying? There's no World Baseball Classic this time around, so no guys are tired. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Knock on wood that we get through spring training. All
They're going to
healthy
get
and
the
well.
at-bats. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I mean, I don't want to hear any excuses. And
No.
but at the end of the day, I mean, listen, if these guys that they bring in on these small contracts, and especially Whit Merrifield and a utility guy like him, I mean, if he can play the field anywhere, technically. So I mean, if a guy needs a day off or something like that, it's good. It can help, especially in those, when it gets deeper into the season, and especially in those playoff runs.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think it was a good signing overall, and we only signed it for $8 million. I
Not
mean,
bad, not terrible at all. I'm okay with it.
no, not at all. As far as I'm concerned, it's a steal on this
Oh yeah,
market. The way that markets have been going, this is a steal for a guy that's a utility guy who he plays his best at second base, which
yeah,
I know he I think they brought this up on the High Hopes podcast.
Shout out to High Hopes.
Yeah, High Hopes is one of my favorite Phillies podcasts. They're radio guys from WIP. They're the best. But
Mm,
they brought up a point of they might put Whit Merrifield at second on these weird days since Bryson Stott doesn't do fantastic against lefties.
mm,
They might kind of schedule it almost to where um, Whit Merrifield takes those days that are against a great left-handed pitcher. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
makes sense.
um, I mean, anybody in division, out division, whatever. It would make total sense. It would
Oh
make
yeah,
total sense. And then he could kind of bounce around the outfield if he needs to, like, and he has some power. He has a little bit of power at least. And he
oh
stole
yeah.
26 bases later at 35.
Hey, I mean, I'll take it. I mean, he was doing good for me in fantasy baseball one year. I mean, he was raking. So I mean, hey, if you can do that for us in the Phillies, man, I mean, I'm okay with it. I'll take it.
Yeah, I agree. And like I said, I just think that people don't realize no franchise has really done anything this offseason. I mean, other than the Dodgers, there's really not many to talk about. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
exactly.
Like, because these championship teams, the ones that were in all the NLCS and the ALCS, they haven't really made any big contracts. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? I mean, Altuve signed a 3-year extension, or 3-year extension starting in 2025 with the
yeah,
Astros, but that's just essentially guaranteeing that he's going to be an Astro for life. So that's not doesn't have any effect on this year. He's already on the
yeah.
team, and I mean they signed Hader, but I mean I don't like Josh Hader, but
Nobody's
whatever.
scared. Nobody's moved.
Nobody's scared of Josh Hader, especially
No,
not Matt Vierling. Am I right?
exactly. Shout out Matt Villing.
Um, but I mean, the Dodgers made all those moves, and it's like they're just taking up kind of most of the airspace. So, which is fine with me. I don't care. I'm just
Whatever.
saying, like it's not. No teams have really done anything. So I feel like people, because I was originally mad, and I was like, "There's what are we doing? Like we need
Yeah,
to upgrade now, now, now." Nobody's doing anything.
nothing.
So I'm not like I had to take a step back, and I'm really not as worried as I was.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. And listen, who knows? And going to our next point, I mean, there's still a couple more days until our first official spring training game. And besides the Whit Merrifield signing, what is another position that you think, would be good to get as of right now, and what free agents are out there?
I have two big needs, and they're both on the same side of the field.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need a starting rotation piece
Agreed.
because I think Wheeler Nola Ranger is great.
Mm-hmm.
But if we can get somebody who's a legit number 3 with Ranger as a 4, that is massive.
Sheesh.
Because I don't trust many more people than I trust Ranger in a big game.
Oh yeah,
He
for sure.
he kind of folded in Game 7 a little bit, but I think that was on Rob Thompson for pulling him a little too early.
Yeah,
They only
exactly.
scored 1 run against us and they pulled him. I don't think that was the right move, but I think Rob Thompson has learned from that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The second thing is I feel like we need a closer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sick of just like
Mm-hmm.
writing it in or mailing it in on these closers and giving them 1-year deals or whatever. Like we gave Kimbrel 1 year, 10 million last year. Why
Yeah.
couldn't we have given that to Hector Neris this year? He was great. The last 2
Yeah.
seasons with the Astros, he's been great. And he signed for 1 year, 9 million to a non-contender.
It's like we could have done that. I mean,
I don't get it. Yeah, we could have done that. And like the only reason I say we could have done it, and like I understand it's not my money. I get it. But
yeah,
like we have the money, and I don't think they wanted to go over the tax, the luxury tax threshold because
yeah.
we're into the second one now since
Mm-hmm.
Bohm won his arbitration.
Yeah.
Who is now getting paid 4 million, and they were trying to pay him
Sheesh.
3.4, but he
Yeah.
ended up winning.
Yeah.
Which
I did see
down
that.
the
Yeah.
road, those are the guys we're gonna have to sign. But
Yeah. Exactly.
anyway, I just think the closer position is a big one, and the starting position is a big one. I think we need a number 3/4 starter, and I
Mm-hmm.
think if you do get a number 3/4 starter, which is what I want, you need to get rid of Taiwan Walker because he had the most empty 15 wins or 16 wins that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. I mean, I yeah. Hopefully he takes some kind of bounce back into the season. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he'll probably be motivated, for sure. I hope he is. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you what you said. I mean, definitely another starter. 3 or 4 would be great. Shout out Monty or Snell. I mean, Scott Boras really isn't helping the situation much, but And then
Bum.
another reliever. A reliever would be good. Then again, I like Alvarado, as a lefty, but you know, at the end of the day, he can struggle at times, and can he take on that pressure of being that number one closer for us? I believe it. I believe he can,
Yeah.
but you just never know, and you don't know what's going to happen throughout the season. So, but having another one on the side would be great. But like I said, there's still a couple more days leading up to our first spring training game, so you never
100%.
really know what Dave is cooking up, and we'll see what
Right.
happens.
About the closer situation. If they end up naming Alvarado or
Hmm.
Orion Kirkring as closer, that's
Yeah.
fine with me. I
Hmm.
just want us to have a definitive closer that can
Yeah.
get us 3 to 4 outs every single time we call his number. That's it.
Exactly. I don't want to.
Alvarado will be a great one,
Yeah.
but I don't think you can put Alvarado there until Sir Anthony improves, because
Oh yeah.
last year Sir Anthony did not have a great year. But
Yeah. Nah.
that's all I have to say about the closing
Yeah.
situation.
He struggled a little bit, so hopefully he bounces back. And we don't want to stress anymore when it comes to just
Yeah.
getting 3 outs in the ninth with a 1-run lead, or after Harper hits a amazing home run to take the lead, and then we just blow it in the extra. So it's just like
There were
it's
4 or 5 games last year where we hit big home runs, and
brutal.
the bullpen gave it away.
Yeah.
They were all to take the lead. Trey Turner hit 2 home runs in one night. Castellanos hit his 200th home run, and I think it was that same night. And then we lost. How? That's on the bullpen.
I just hope to not see that this year, but you never know what's going to happen. But speaking of spring training, next weekend, Saturday, will be the first official spring training game for the Phillies. And I'm looking forward to it. It's baseball. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not, some starters go or not, which I doubt really, but who are you looking forward to seeing in spring training? Because I'm excited for some guys.
I'm honestly looking forward to Alec Boehm the most, in my opinion. Because last year you had the report that he had 15 pounds of muscle, and his baby face was kind of gone, and he's starting to grow into his body. But because he's still a young guy, he's what, 25, 26? He's not very old at all. So he came up through the system fairly quickly.
Yeah.
But I think that he needs to add power. He had, I believe it was 20 home runs last year. If we could boost that up to a solid 27, that would be great. That would be fantastic.
Amazing.
And there's not many people that I would trust more in an RBI spot than him.
Oh yeah,
other than Bryce Harper.
Oh yeah, for sure. And speaking of like putting on muscle, it's like you see guys like Johan Rojas. I mean, he's struggled in the playoffs too, and now you see this whole thing about adding muscle, and he's bunting and stuff like that, practicing that stuff. It's like, okay, cool. It's like, that's great.
He needed the practice.
Yeah. You're telling me? I hope he's in the batting cage, if anything, because that's what he really needs to work on, is putting the ball in play and not swinging up high in fastballs. But I would say, for me personally, there's one guy that I'm really excited to see just because of how he ended last season, is Orion Kirkring, the one reliever, because he's still a young guy. And, those couple of games that we brought him to the team to end the season before the postseason, he pitched pretty well. He had a good slider, but I would like to see a couple more, fastball, some other things that he can
mix
use.
it in.
Yeah, mix it in a little bit other than a slider. Because, I mean, there was a game with the Diamondbacks that, like, he couldn't throw anything else than a slider. And when he did throw something else, it either wasn't hitting on spot or they were hitting the ball. And it's like, listen, I'm not going to, get too much on him because he was a young guy. He's a rookie. So, he just needs to, learn a little bit. So I'm excited to see how he does in spring training, and hopefully he can improve, man, because it'd be great to see.
I definitely agree with that. And I think that was kind of on Rob Thompson a little bit, putting him in that spot. That's a tough spot for a rookie.
Oh, yeah.
But
absolutely.
then again, it's like you got his baptism by fire. It just has to happen. You're never going to go into every single game up 3 or 4 runs. You're not.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And I think the slider thing, I don't think Caleb Cotham didn't trust him. I just think it was like this slider, which he had the best slider in all of AAA.
Oh, yeah.
If this slider's so good, why would we deviate?
Yeah,
and I think it was just like, let's just keep going, because eventually it's going to strike him out. And
yeah. No, it just wasn't hitting on spots. Like it was missing by just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
like I
The
said, I hope
tail
he
of it just
improve.
wasn't catching.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said though, like a little bit of that is on Rob and putting him in that situation as a young guy. But at the end of the day, it's like, dude, you're gonna better get used to it now because in a couple of years, if we keep you around, you know what I'm saying, we're gonna be back in that position again, hopefully, and we're gonna need you this
Yeah.
time to close it out or whatever. So. I'm looking forward to seeing him in spring trading and seeing what he can improve on and stuff like that. So, but
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, man. And we were talking about it earlier. When it comes to just around the MLB news, transitioning to that about the whole jersey controversy, man. Like, ugh, those things are terrible.
They're so bad. They're so bad. And I saw a tweet. I couldn't find it. I was trying to show my girlfriend who she's actually working at the Phillies this year. So
Mm.
she's super excited for that. But
Yes, sir.
if you have any birthdays, just, be on the lookout.
There you go.
But I was trying to show her last night because I was telling her like these jerseys are terrible. Like
Mm.
I love jerseys. I was always the guy at frat parties and stuff like that who had all kinds of different jerseys. I had a Jason Williams white chocolate jersey. Dude, I have
Sheesh.
them all. I have probably 5 or 6 members of the roster on the Phillies. I have some sort of jersey or jersey somewhere. The quality of those are garbage. Garbage. There's a Seattle. I saw a Seattle Mariners side by side. They
Yeah.
have a patch on. I think it's their left arm, and
Yeah.
it was beautiful. It's
Yeah.
got the compass point, like the logo and everything, and it was nicely stitched. This year on the players' jerseys, it's ironed on. We can't have that. We can't have that. And then you're still
Mm.
going to charge me $175. That's not happening. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the price thing. It's like, dude, I'm not gonna,
It's unbelievable.
spend that much money on something that crappy. It's like, dude, when it comes to the jersey thing, it's like, yeah, like you got these, old style jerseys from years back, majestic, and they're just authentic. Like my dad has a Hunter Pence jersey, that just still looks beautiful to this day. You know what I'm saying? Shout out
I
Hunter
had
Pence.
one
I
of
mean,
those too,
oh
and then
man,
I've
it's
taped over it and wrote Harper, or my brother taped over it and wrote Harper the second we signed Bryce Harper.
dude, it's crazy, and it's just it's unfortunate. I know I've seen earlier report of Trey Turner speaking on it and how he wasn't the biggest fan of it, and if this players are starting to speak out now, it's it means something then. The point of it, so
This is from Phil's Tailgate,
mm,
again one of my favorite accounts.
shout out Phil Stokes.
Shout out to them.
Sure.
So it says Trey Turner on the new Nike/Fanatics jerseys. I know everybody hates them. We all liked what we had. We understand business, but I think everyone wanted to keep it the same way for the most part, with some tweaks here or there. So what that tells me is they were okay with everything. They were
Mm,
just maybe like, let's let the sleeves out a little bit. Let's do this, this, and this. And then I heard on this podcast called Foul Territory. It's got a bunch of ex-players on it, stuff like that.
yeah.
They said that apparently they're not doing custom pants anymore. And
Okay.
it was AJ Przinsky was on
Yeah.
there, and he was like, that's one of the things you look forward to, because those first couple days in spring training, like when you get to the big leagues, that's what you get to do. Can we
Yeah.
let them out a little bit? Can we tighten them? Can we do this, this, and this? You're taking that away from the players now just so they look right or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you change something that works? And those jerseys were beautiful.
Yeah.
And now I don't know if you saw this, but the nameplates are smaller.
Oh yeah.
So
it's weird.
it's like this. It's great, and it's over the numbers perfectly. They're
Yeah.
shrinking it to like this. It doesn't make
It's
any
just
sense.
weird. I don't understand it. Like I remember I always say the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. You didn't see
Yeah.
anybody complaining about the jerseys the last couple of years, so I don't
No.
understand what the whole deal was of just coming out with new ones and making them look even more crappier than they,
Yeah.
than what they
It's
needed
just
to
the
be.
MLB being cheap at the end of the day. And I love Nike stuff. I wear Nike sneakers. Like
Same
that's
here,
one of
yeah.
the only brands I'll wear.
Yeah.
But their apparel is just it's so bad.
Ugh.
Like these City Connect jerseys, which I wanted to get into just a tiny bit.
Oh, yeah,
Some of
for
these
sure.
City Connect jerseys are garbage. I don't know
Yeah,
how these people. I just don't get it. And then you put
it's
out a product like you put out for those Fanatics jerseys. It's a joke. It's a joke. These players are going to be pitching. They made a joke about it on that podcast I mentioned earlier. They're going to be pitching, and a letter's going to fall off. These are all printed on jerseys. These are $1 million athletes in $1 billion franchises. Why are we putting iron-on stencils on their shirts? It doesn't make any sense. You need to fix it before opening day, or you're going to see your sales drop. You're going to see everything drop, and the players are going to keep complaining. It's going to be bad. You need to fix it.
Yeah, shout out to MLB. You need to get on your shit right now because we're not happy about it.
Yeah, they gotta go.
I mean, then again, I'm not gonna lose sleep over it.
Manfred needs to go too, which he won't be going until 2029 allegedly. So
he's gonna stick around some more, and he'll be handing out the trophy
and maybe ruin the league a little bit more. It's gonna be great.
He's gonna be still half lit, handing out the trophy again, trying to get out words.
Did you see what he said about the A's situation?
Nah, what did he say?
Dude, they asked him about what about the fans and stuff. He said, "There's another team in the Bay Area." What? You think an A's fan? That's like Pete. Listen, think about this, okay? If we were Yankees fans, right?
Yeah.
And the Yankees moved to Oklahoma City, right?
Yeah.
We lived in New York.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, "Well, we still have the Mets." Dude, that's a rivalry. They're right there. Why would you do that? You do that?
Dude.
I'd never become a Mets fan. I'd sooner put myself in an early grave than become a Mets fan.
We don't like the Mets over here.
Regardless, no. It just doesn't make sense. What do you mean? What, like, you're just basically telling them to suck it up. Like, they've supplemented this franchise for years, and now since Fisher wants to just go, he wants to leave and cash out. Now all of a sudden, oh well, there's another team there. What are you talking about, dude? The guy's he's a hindrance to the game. He's a hindrance to the game.
I would not want to be a A's fan right now. That's all I'm saying. I couldn't even handle what they're going through, and it's pretty funny because I was watching Moneyball last night, and
I watched it 2 nights ago.
Oh, dude, it's a good movie.
Just came out on Netflix.
Shout out Brad Pitt. He played that real well, but it's just seeing that it's like. Man, they might need Brad Pitt right now because he might be able to turn this around. I mean, he might do a better job. I mean, my goodness, like it's rough out there for A's fans.
You know what the worst part is? Billy Beane, the guy who Brad Pitt plays in that movie, he's part of the A's front office still.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Why are you letting this happen, dude? Why?
He obviously didn't.
And this is where they take analytics and stuff too far. I love that movie, and like. I'm not saying you need to pay big bucks to get a championship because you don't.
Yeah.
But you see the trend in what's going on, and the Rangers essentially bought their team, and the Diamondbacks, which I mean, I'm not taking any credit away from the Rangers World Series at all.
Yeah, no, absolutely
at all. But I mean, a team like the Diamondbacks, they're not really paying anybody. They weren't paying anybody big, and it happened to fall their way, and it's like. Yeah. I understand that can happen sometimes, but that's not even what he's doing. He's paying their payroll is a joke. It's a joke.
Oh, yeah. It's ridiculous. I mean, I couldn't imagine. Could never be me. I'm
just glad we have Dave Dombrowski and John Middleton.
Exactly.
That's all I know.
Shout out Dave Dombrowski, man.
Makes me more grateful for them every time I see news about that drop.
Yeah, dude. Just can't wait to see. It's going to be fun season. I mean, just, hopefully maybe, like I said, in the next couple of days, get another signing or so. And, we'll see what happens from there going into the first spring training game. But I think we can end it right there. I mean, listen, that was good. I mean, we got some good conversation in there. Yeah. And we have more to go about. So, I mean, listen, so, thank you everybody, for next week. Thank you for listening. Make sure to go follow the socials, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Like, subscribe, follow, comment, especially on YouTube. Let us know how we did. Like I said, this is just the beginning for us. Obviously we're going to give our best, each and every episode and stuff like that. We're going to bring the energy. We're two loyal Phillies fans, just, trying to, rant about our team. And, and when we get to that promised land one day, when they win it all, what I'm saying? We're still going to be here talking about it. And, like I said, listen on, all podcast platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, etc.
Go Phils.
Go Phils, baby. We'll see y'all. Peace.